Mountain Dew will tickle your innards cause there's a bang in every bottle.
All while slamming a dew. Nothing's more intense than slamming Mountain Dew.
Where's the Mountain Dew?
In the fridge, duh. I want to cast a spell.
Can I have a Mountain Dew?
Yes, you can have a Mountain Dew. Just go get it.
Chip, I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
We'll take a sip of the Rare Auld Mountain Dew.
What's up? Forgot my dew.
This thing rules. The thing rules.
Oh, hey, what's up? I'm Brian Altano.
And I'm Max Scoville.
This is a show where we discuss something we love,
Unpack why we love it,
explain where it came from,
try to remember our first impressions of it,
share our weird stories about it.
maybe learn something new about it along the way.
But first and foremost, we're here to celebrate the fact that this thing rules.
Hey, you guys want to do the do?
Hell fucking yeah.
I do.
We're joined this week by Seth Macy, a good friend of ours and aficionado of a certain beverage that has a bit of a reputation, a bit of lore. Seth, why does Mountain Dew rule so much?
Where even to begin? The flavor, perhaps? The caffeine content? Its connection with extreme sports for some reason? I don't even know, but I feel like we could discuss it in a neat little episode of a fun podcast you guys do.
I think that's a great idea.
You're kind of like a Mountain Dew influencer, right?
Yeah, well, it's weird. I posted on Instagram a Mountain Dew can that was real tree camo. And I was like, for when you're thirsty, but you also want to kill a deer. And then Mountain Dew reached out to me and were like, we would like to send you stuff. And they sent me lots of stuff over the years. I originally had planned to have it all behind me, but it doesn't matter now because this is an audio-only podcast. It would have only been for you guys.
We can imagine it.
But recently, yes, imagine in your mind.
I will say real quick that if you are interested in becoming like an influential person on the internet to get free products sent to you, historically telling the companies that you will kill an animal doesn't work.
I might have used
so
different
great.
phrasing.
Unless it's like you're like
if
you're like a bullet, if you want to get into get people to mail you bullets.
That's actually a good jumping off point because the Mountain Dew reputation, the sort of the Mountain Dew, I don't even know what you call it, the oeuvre, the genre, whatever it is, the stuff that's associated with Mountain Dew. In the modern sense, it's always been extreme sports. Like it's always kind of do the do, bro. It originated as much more of a woodland camo type of thing. Let's do a little history lesson here. I'll go way back. Mountain Dew was invented in 1940 by two dudes named Barney and Allie Hartman, and they were. Of course it. Yeah, it is that old. It is. I mean, we're going to be around probably. But we'll see how things go for the centennial anniversary of Mountain Dew, which is
oh my god, I can't wait. Parades.
That's going to be a weird time. Yeah. But that said, it's not the original recipe. That was they made this. They made this as a moonshine mixer because Mountain Dew was actually slang for moonshine. There's old like Irish songs about making moonshine, that old Yahoo, that old Mountain Dew or whatever.
Yes, Mountain Dew in a jarro. Yes, yeah. I remember that.
But basically, they made this, I think, for their own personal use because they were like, we need something to make this rat poison we're cooking up in the hills taste better and make us go blind faster, maybe. And so 1948, apparently it was actually popular enough. People liked it. They were selling it in jars, maybe. They trademarked it by the Hartman Beverage Company of Knoxville, Tennessee. In 1954, it was first commercially, officially bottled. And then at this point, there's this whole like convoluted thing of different people who claim that they were like the inventors of Mountain Dew. They revised the formula in 1958, a dude named Bill Bridgeworth. 1961, the formula got revised again by the Tip Corporation. And then in 1964, it was purchased by PepsiCo and marketed as a soft drink. But they still paid homage to the original sort of purpose of this thing by having this whole hillbilly theme. Like the original Mountain Dew mascot was like a cartoon hillbilly with it. Like he looked like, what was it, Little Abner or something? Like he just had like he was wearing like overalls. He looked like Solomon Grundy kind of. And he had a little straw hat and he was just like this dude in the woods. So he's this guy, Yahoo, that old Mountain Dew. So fast forward less than a decade and they were like, people aren't really excited to drink a hillbilly soft drink. So let's just kind of drop that entirely. Let's pivot more, do sort of just general outdoorsy stuff. People like to be outdoors. And so all their commercials just had people like kayaking and hiking and doing all sorts of healthy activities that usually you wouldn't associate with Mountain Dew. And then fast forward a little bit further, and in the 1990s, they leaned heavily into the X Games type of stuff. And Mountain Dew was one of the earliest sponsors of the Extreme Games, which became the X Games because everyone was too busy skydiving and snowboarding and shit to say all of those syllables. So we got that, and then I would say the rest is history. It kept going from there. I always sort of loved it because it is this bizarre intersection of like, it's like dude bro extreme sports, like weird kind of backwoods behavior, but then the people who are most likely consuming a lot of Mountain Dew are dudes staying up playing video games and D&D.
Yeah. I would say the number one sport that Mountain Dew drinkers do now is drive to work. It's just get in the car and then drive somewhere.
What evidence do you have to back that up?
I would just say the internet. Like, and it's
Okay.
also, I'm not. It's not even like I'm body shaming people or anything like that. But it feels like they've moved away from like you can do a backflip while drinking this or after drinking this, and more into just like we are available at several fast food places, and our big thing now is we do like seasonal drops and special edition, remixes, all that fun stuff.
Love it.
Yeah.
The exclusive flavors that restaurants have exclusive flavors. Convenience stores have exclusive flavors. Grocery store chains have exclusive flavors. It's a game in and of itself to try to find them all and sample from the cornucopia of dew that is.
What's your favorite?
Forth.
Gun to the head.
What is my favorite? Are you talking like all time or
All
like
time.
right now? All time. And if Mountain Dew is listening, Dew SA, the greatest Mountain Dew ever. And it was only around for one summer, and it was Code Red, a blue one and a white one.
That was the one where it was like they kept doing like elections. They kept having like different. I want to say that was 2008.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. Dew SA inspired democracy.
Yeah, democracy.
Yep.
That was it. That was their whole thing. It was democracy. It was you vote for the next flavor. So let's see. One of our Patreon backers, Caleb Hilliard, said discussions on the flavor of the different flavors of Mountain Dew and the connection to video games. These are things he wants to hear us talk about. Also, location exclusives and how they determine the mystery candy for Voodoo, and why did they get rid of Black Label? There have been so many bizarre variants of Mountain Dew, and like I don't want to. I'm not going to pretend I'm like a Mountain Dew hipster because that's stupid. I have not been around since 1940. Those dudes do exist. There is an active original Mountain Dew bottle collecting scene. Like there are dudes who are in the same category as like, pinball machine repair and 45 LP collectors or whatever. Like there are people who want those old timey bottles with the old hillbillies on them and probably have some lead in the bottle somewhere. That said, I was really interested in Mountain Dew. I don't know how to frame it that way. Like I thought Mountain Dew there was something fun about it. Something I really liked. I have a Mountain Dew tattoo. It's like a little tiny little drawing I did of a bottle of Mountain Dew. It's between a Lego brick and a Gundam and a candy cane that has a snake head and a bear with a fanny pack. Give it a thumbs up.
You're basically a walking advertisement for your own podcast.
I'm a walking advertisement for getting hit on the head with something at a young age. But yeah, I mean, basically when all those flavors started rolling out, it was when I was I was less interested in Mountain Dew because I feel like the thing that happened then was energy drinks, which I was like,
right.
I'd built up a pretty big tolerance for like, Mountain Dew energy, and I was like, I need something stronger. But I loved that rollout. Like it did become this it was almost like, new waves of like action figures or Ninja Turtles where there was
crazy.
some stupid theme. Yeah.
You have to chase. There's I don't know. There's probably a subreddit, but there was an Instagram. I'm subscribed to it actually. I follow it. That is dedicated just to like do one-off flavors and variants and exclusives and do news and things of that nature. But if I'm not mistaken, Max, and you probably have done the research, Code Red was the first sort of different flavor of Mountain Dew.
So no. Actually, common misconception. There's actually
everything.
There are so many weird variations of Mountain Dew that there's a Wikipedia page just for list of Mountain Dew flavors and varieties.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like, oh, this is the Mountain Dew franchise. It's like, no, we need a separate whole. We need a hub for this. Let me see. Way at the bottom here.
Imagine telling your mom you're the mod for the Wikipedia. How proud she would be.
Yeah. let's see, where is it? There's Hard Mountain Dew. There's international variations. There's
So the Hard
there's
Mountain Dew
Game
stuff,
Fuel.
they rolled that a couple years ago, right? That was
that's fairly recent. It started in Canada because they know that Canadians can hold their liquor a little better than we can. And they like to party up there. It's cold most of the time. It's dark most of the time, so they just like to throw them back, buddy. So
anything that's like
there.
a mix of like alcohol and caffeine is it always just makes my head spin a little bit because I'm like, well, those are two competing thoughts. But it was so weird because obviously everybody sort of rushed to make like their own like sort of alcohol version of a popular drink. And it was, of everything, right? And like fucking Sunny D did it a couple years ago.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they were like way late, and it was like, no.
Wow, you do have a cool mom.
Yeah, right.
God.
It's like we got purple stuff, Sunny D, alcoholic Sunny D. My mom doesn't live here anymore. Stepdad moved in.
My mom said she'd rather have us drinking at home, or she could keep an eye on us.
Call my stepdad Steppy D. So sorry that took me a second to pull it up. Again, it's a very long list of Mountain Dew flavors. In 1988, there was Mountain Dew Red, not Code Red.
Oh, interesting.
It was fruit punch, and it was the first new flavor originally, then aside from the original citrus. In 1989 to 1991, there was Mountain Dew Sport, which was kind of actually trying to be like more of a sports drink. And
I guess sort of like what Gatorade had a lot of like quench the, like you're running and you better do some quenching.
Yeah, no, exactly. Mountain Dew, I will say, not great for that. Like I definitely, I went through, I would say peak Mountain Dew consumption was 2006 for me. And I would go to 7-Eleven and get like a double gulp, which is half a gallon. And I would just like pound it, and I would just like run around the town of Sonoma in Dickies shorts and a backwards hat, like some kind of Sega Genesis platforming character.
No, my one of my best friends used to, once we hit senior year, would drive me to high school every day. He'd pick me up, and we would just get in his car and smoke cigarettes, and he would pound big ass things of Mountain Dew, and it was like the idea of him, he wouldn't make like a coffee at home and be like, oh man, I've got a big day. It was like, no, I better get it like a 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew and then chug it, and then I'll pee in it and throw it out the window, whatever it is.
I like that you went from being friends with him to being friends with me. Like, am I filling in a gap there? Like, am I?
No, I think I just attract a specific type of loser.
Fair point.
Which, hold on, that says more about me than anybody else, right?
That's I don't know, man. Who's more foolish, the fool or the fool who drives to school with him? But no, I do want to touch on some of the insane flavors, because they kind of, Code Red was the first big one,
right?
That one was, I love that because that has a virus named after it. There was the big
virus.
Yeah, that would be weird if it was like I guess we did have like the coronavirus that was named after a beer, like. We got the Delta variant named after a special ops group or an airplane or whichever. I don't know. But no, there was Code Red, Livewire, Baja Blast, Voltage, Mountain Dew Real Sugar, which was them. They brought back the Hillbillies.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite, actually, because that took me back. It was the scene in Ratatouille, except for instead of like a peasant from pastoral France, it was
just skateboarding.
Dirty kneed little shit running around Bangor, Maine.
I love it. It's just like, instead of the guy at the end, it's just like this white trash guy who gets so excited he farts.
There was, let's see, this is current ones. This is current variations. There's Goji Citrus Strawberry, which has been around since 2017.
What? That doesn't sound like something you can get.
Again, it's at select convenience stores and college campuses. There's Mountain Dew Voodoo, which is the Halloween flavor they put out. A lot of this
disappointing.
Stuff, really, a lot of the stuff dropped after I was into it. I would say, okay, I'm going to say Mountain Dew and Star Wars have a similar trajectory for me, where.
Where is this going?
I like the original stuff a whole lot. And then in the late 90s, early 2000s, they started making new ones, and I was like, they're okay. And then I wandered off and did something else. And then I turned around, and suddenly there's like Clone Wars and Rebels and like, KOTOR and all this stuff that happened when I wasn't paying attention. And Mountain Dew has its own expanded universe of flavors. Like there's Berry Monsoon, Sweet Lightning, Maui Burst, Frostbite, Atomic Blue, Southern Shock, Dugarita, Thrashed Apple, Uproar, Darkberry Flash, Legend, Purple Thunder, Overdrive, Infinite Swirl. I'm not going to do all of them. I do have I have a personal favorite, which is Pitch Black 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
The Vin Diesel movie.
yep.
No, wasn't that the Chronicles of Riddick?
Yes, but the sequel.
Pitch Black was the first one. Chronicles of Riddick, I guess, was technically Pitch Black. But was it a prequel? I don't know the Riddick verse very well. I think
I'm actually pretty. I'm kind of proud of all of us for not knowing that.
Yeah.
I do feel like Vin Diesel has slammed some dues. Like
He's
back
some-
in-
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. Mountain Vin Diesel. But yeah, no, Pitch Black was, they put out Pitch Black, which was it was dark grape, which is like,
What does that even mean?
it means it's bad,
like
it's bad
wine.
grape.
You're talking about wine.
Dark grape. Not like red grape. They were just like, it was like a dark purple, you know?
It was like a Cabernet.
It was very, really more of a Pinot Noir of Mountain Dew flavors, but that one came out. People were like, yeah, it's all right, whatever. And then a few years later, they were like Pitch Black 2. And I love the idea of things that shouldn't have numbered sequels getting numbered sequels. Like Chinese restaurants do this all the time, where it'll be like Spices 3. And it's like, well, I understand if I haven't been to the first two, the thrilling conclusion to the trilogy.
There's I don't think it's in business anymore, but there was a sex/head shop in Central Maine called the Treasure Chest 2. And they would advertise online, like you could go buy,
was there a
marital
treasure,
aids.
was there a Treasure Chest 1?
I don't know that there ever was a Treasure Chest 1.
I think that's the story with Carl's Jr. Like, I'm not positive about that. I think there was a Carl's, and then they opened another one called Carl's Jr. That's a story for another day.
That's not a sequel, though. That's like just lineage, right? That's just a
guess that's
different
true.
person. Like, unless Treasure Chest 2 is the son of Treasure Chest.
Son of Treasure Chest would be a bad name for a sex shop.
That's like if you opened a treasure chest and there was just a smaller treasure chest in it, and you were like, "That's weird," and then it was like, "I'm its son," and you'd be like, "Why am I here? This is the worst set of treasures."
Is that like when you buy like a suitcase and it comes with like a small like a toiletries bag inside it?
Yeah,
Just
that's
like
a treasure chest. Unless it's like treasure chest, comma TOO.
I don't know how we got here. But no, I love Pitch Black too, because they basically took the Pitch Black flavor and they made it sort of sour. And apparently no one else liked it because it got discontinued very quickly. And since then, they've brought back the original Pitch Black, but they never brought back the other one, which makes me sad. But yeah, I don't know. Mountain Dew has like, again, it's gone to a lot of different weird directions. Like they went the alcoholic route, which was sort of a 10-year late to the party competition for Four Loko. Yeah. There was Black Label, which was. Do you remember this, Seth?
No, I don't at all.
Mountain Dew Black Label. It was like a limited run. They packaged it as like I think it came in like a fancy box or bottle or something. And it was
like
was
a
only released in
decanter?
kind of like, I think when they sell like Jack Daniels at Christmas and it comes with 2 glasses in a box, like you're gonna.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say they did that with Mountain Dew, and it wasn't alcoholic, but the kind of implication was like, yeah, but what if you bought it alongside something else? And I don't know. But it was an original flavor. Like it was something. I think they actually sent me that. Like I went through a brief Mountain Dew influencer phase. I got a box sent to me when I was at Rev 3 Games of, I think it was Halo 4 Mountain Dew Doritos.
Yeah, it probably was. I was gonna say because Halo 3 had like a real deep tie-in, like kind of legendary.
That predates all the Call of Duty XXP stuff too, right?
Oh man, yeah, that is way before that. That was like a crossing of 2 influencer effects on my life when I got a Call of Duty care package full of Mountain Dew goodness. A backpack you guys have probably seen me use on trips to the office that was originally covered in Call of Duty and Mountain Dew patches.
And
I
you took
have
them
a
off?
big. Well, yeah, because I had a patch that was from Metal Gear Solid 5, and then I had to put that on instead.
Well, yeah, obviously, of course.
I also have like a big furry like Soviet hat from the Call of Duty Cold War that used to have a Mountain Dew pin in the middle of it, but I removed that and replaced it with.
That was the Dew SSR flavor they did, right?
That was
which they discontinued when they invaded Ukraine.
You know what's funny is remember Barks Root Beer?
Yeah.
It has bite.
Barks Root Beer did that first. They did a giveaway of decommissioned Soviet military surplus.
Oh yeah,
scrap.
that's right.
Like for real, that was one of those like
about that.
offbeat 90s things. They were like, hey, you guys want some, I don't know, Soviet
We
hats?
just made a deal with a corrupt Russian oligarch, and now you can get a nuclear submarine if you drink enough bark points.
Still no idea if they actually did that, but they had ads for it. So,
Max, didn't you do a video at one point where they mailed you you got Mountain Dew and you got Doritos?
yeah,
and
so
you made,
that's
like,
what that was the Halo thing. This was also, this was the same era as like the Jeff Keighley Dorito Pope meme. And I don't know if I was trying to avoid that or if I'm just an idiot, but I made a video where I was like, oh, they sent me this cool unboxing thing. And like, it's also, I feel like maybe somebody on like a social team would do this kind of video now, but for like this to be posted on Maine for a attempted to be like reputable video game outlet that also did reviews and stuff, we're like, oh, cool, I got the new Mountain Dew Doritos and I got the Mountain, the Halo Doritos and the Halo Mountain Dew, and I just poured it in a bowl and poured the Mountain Dew over it and ate it like cereal, and then like the end shot is me like throwing up in a toilet. And like,
I think I remember that actually.
yeah, it was really interesting because a lot of people are like, this is very funny, and other people are like, you ruined the collector value, and it was like, well, I mean, to be fair, the guy they actually sent it to, they didn't actually send it to me, they sent it to one of the guys that we freelanced to do some of our reviews.
Right.
We did our capture, and his cat started chewing on the corner of the bag. And it was definitely not meant to be opened because it was like, you ever get like, there's like a very specific, I don't know if I'm just sensitive to this one particular smell, but when like a corn oil or like a nut goes rancid, it's kind of like it's like a mustiness. It's not like, if you're really hungry, you can kind of power through it, but it's also like, eh. But that bag smelled like that, but then also like if you open up like a new video game or like a new like glossy book, it's got like this very chemical smell to it. So it's probably good I didn't actually eat all that Doritos cereal, but yeah.
Seth, they've sent you a ton of weird stuff, right?
Yes, they have. I have, oh my God. And I keep it all because I'm an idiot. I don't need the stuff, but probably the weirdest thing that they sent me was one of the Call of Duty drops. They sent me this like Pelican box. I don't know if you're familiar with those. They're really expensive, like film crews use them to like haul their gear around.
Right.
But they had modified it by like drilling a bunch of holes in it so it wasn't good for anything. And inside was this like vault, which I still have. It's under the stairs. It doesn't go off anymore. And I had to enter a code to open it. And if I entered it wrong, it would like buzz like a nuclear bomb was about to go off. And then I opened it up, and I think there was like a code for Call of Duty in there, but it had, swag, like Mountain Dew swag. And I just got back in touch with my peeps at Mountain Dew because I'm kicking off like a food sort of silo or what is the word I'm looking for? Anyway,
silo.
I want to cover food. I've been wanting to cover food for like 5 years. And
You should try sauces.
Well, a vertical, that's the word I'm looking for. So Mountain Dew like reached out and they said that they have this thing, and they sent me this really nice cooler with their new logo. They sent me 3 cans of Mountain Dew. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And a sick Dickies shirt with like Mountain Dew embroidery on the back, all kinds of sick Mountain Dew patches, and a giant, like it's like huge. It's like an 8-foot by 5-foot Mountain Dew flag that I was considering hanging up behind me, but then I realized I would look like a Mountain Dew jihadist, like making.
You know what you should do?
Bit, yeah.
You should put that on your lawn at half mast and just wait until the mailman asks you what happened.
That's the most recent thing that I've gotten. Sometimes they'll just send me weird, like, fun little things. It looks like a bathysphere. There was some, I don't remember what it is, some underwater themed flavor of Mountain Dew. It was a purple one. It was very good.
Scuba Dew.
Scuba Dew. Yeah, that's right. Where are you? Under the ocean.
You are discontinued.
They sent me Flaming Hot Mountain Dew, which was the thing.
Ooh, okay.
In a orange like barrel, like that, the kind that if you saw it in a video game and you shot it, it would explode into flames.
Wait, was it spicy flavored?
It was weird because it had no spicy flavor. It tasted just like Mountain Dew, but you got that sort of like heat off of it. It was very interesting. And also in there was a sweatband because it was going to be very hot. And now that I've shaved my head, that sweatband has come in very handy to keep the sweat out of my eyes. So I appreciate that. Mountain Dew has helped me in a lot of ways. Yeah, I also have a jean jacket with Mountain Dew patches on it from a famous, or not a famous, but like a pretty well-known like jean jacket designer.
Jordache?
It was from Jordache. I mean, it could possibly be.
Who's to say? No,
I might have to break that one out.
We had a good question from Jonathan Griffin on Patreon. He said, I'm curious what the feel is on dews with so much flavor that it just becomes flavor. I've had more than one dew where all I can say about it is it tastes, because there's so much going on. I have no descriptors for the flavor profile. Some people I know think those ones are awesome. Others are put off. I'm also curious to hear you guys talk about the strangest that was Flamin' Hot Mountain Dew.
I want to see Jonathan on like a cooking show where like somebody spends 45 minutes iron chefing a dinner for him and he goes, it tastes. That's such an amazing reaction.
That is a really good way of describing it. But that's always a way I describe something that has too much going on. Like I completely get that. Like there's a lot, I don't know, there's video games that are just over designed where where every part of it has to look cool. And if every part of it looks cool, then none of it looks any cooler than any other part of it. And it's just kind of like calm the fuck down and just do one thing really well and do other things okay. But yeah, I don't know, the original Mountain Dew is, I feel like, not even, it doesn't taste like citrus, it tastes like Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Like it's its own thing. And then Code Red did the same thing with cherry, where it's like, what did you think a cherry was?
Yeah, I didn't know that Mountain Dew was supposed to be like a citrus flavor until I think the episode of Bad Men where there was like a Mountain Dew tie-in. And they're like, it's supposed to taste like orange juice. And I was like, oh, I guess it's supposed to taste like citrus. I always thought,
never would have guessed that.
Conversely, like Livewire, which was their orange flavor that came out in 2003, I think. That one I didn't like because it just tasted like orange juice or orange soda. Like it felt like it wasn't, like it was orange soda with caffeine, which is kind of a novel concept. But yeah, I don't know. I do like that they are these. I like when they're these almost flavors. They're these weird kind of off varieties.
How would you guys describe the base flavor of Mountain Dew? Because like it never really screamed citrus to me. But I also now that I'm thinking of it, couldn't really. It's just sort of like it tastes. I think is the best way of putting it. Like it was vaguely tropical, I guess, but not in with no citrus and no coconut or suntan lotion, all the shit they usually put those notes and other stuff. I can't really pin it down.
It's like dry and floral, but those are two things I wouldn't use to describe a soda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sugary and slightly acidic is how I would describe.
I would say a Mountain Dew is to like a citrus soda like Sprite or something as grape soda is to actual grape juice.
Okay, yeah, I feel that.
Like it's that Albrecht Dürer rhinoceros drawing where somebody like told him what a rhinoceros looked like and he did his best to draw one. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't really, it looks like a dinosaur that's shaped like a rhinoceros and it's got like claws and like feathers and weird scales. And it's like, you're not that far off, but you're not right either, And I feel like it's kind of that.
Yeah. You can make Mountain Dew at home by mixing equal parts frozen orange juice concentrate and gasoline.
Is that why that's the name Call of Duty Black Ops? Crap.
Now you have a reason to hang that flag half-mast because you just killed people.
Hennessy writes in and says, Dear Mountain Dew, we're not Mountain Dew, but thank you for writing. Why aren't you as good as Iron Brew? Have you ever had Iron Brew? Mm-mm. Do you know what Iron Brew is?
Isn't it Iron Brew?
Iron Brew. Well, I don't know how you say.
Oh, is it some Dutch thing?
It's Scottish.
And isn't it
Iron Buddy?
Isn't it Hennessy?
What?
You said Hennessy.
Hennessy. That's fair. Hennessy. The Hennessy brand writes in.
I thought you were just going to say drink names wrong for the rest of your life. I would have to be the guy that corrects you.
So I think I guess you can say Iron Brew. I don't know. I've never had it. I've always wanted to try it. I'm trying to get my hands on some of it. It's stupid because I've been to the UK and always forget that that's a thing I want to track down. But like that's my understanding is it's just Scottish Mountain Dew, which I don't know. I'd put that in the same category as like Thai Red Bull, where you're like, oh, it's exotic and strange and different and totally its own thing.
I thought now Red Bull, if I'm not mistaken, originated in Thailand, and it was very cleverly marketed by an advertising genius who recognized that it tastes like shit, and it was like, that's part of the charm. It'll give you wings, and that is a real true story about.
No, that's a story for another day. I definitely have dug into that lore as well, but yeah, it's bizarre because there's the original flavor, which they still sell over there, that comes in little tiny glass bottles, like the like the energy drinks you pound in Yakuza games, and then there's the gentrified one that's like $6 a can that sponsors airplane.
When I'm over there
races
training Muay Thai, I'm gonna drink real Red Bulls exclusively.
You should. I bet Sagat drinks real Red Bulls.
Dude, hell yeah.
But then Sagat in the original Street Fighter movie would probably drink the other kind because he wears like a little suit. I don't know why they did that to him. They did him dirty in that.
The M in M Bison actually stands for Mountain Dew Bison.
Bison Mountain Dew. Okay, so Evan J writes, I wish we could still win absurd shit with Dew bottle lids. Maybe we can. I don't know. I only ever do the Dew these days exclusively at Taco Bell. Baja Blast is the king, even though it's just regular Dew with blue Gatorade. I love that Evan just goes on this tear here. Also, remember that ridiculous commercial where the dude is in a Trans Am with his friends and he's like, forgot my Dew, and Hoobastank is playing, and they do this like barrel roll stunt jump at the car as the dude grabs a can of Mountain Dew inverted out of a guy's hand. No clue the guy driving was Channing Tatum until I rewatched this commercial for that comment.
What?
I only remember the Surge commercial that had the dude from the Big Green that was playing Fatboy Slim, where they're spinning around doing donuts and the Surge can is sliding back and forth on the dashboard.
The Big Green, the soccer movie?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
The husky boy who's on the cover of the box, who looks sort of like Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day, but like a ginger.
Oh my God, I know exactly who you're talking about.
I hate that description did it.
It was, exactly what you're talking about.
So yeah, that's the funny thing is every few years, Coca-Cola comes out of the shadows with a Mountain Dew competitor.
Ooh, I was hoping we were going to talk about this.
So there was, in 1979, there was Mellow Yellow, which was...
Call me Mellow Yellow.
Yeah, caffeinated yellow soda. Not really what I would call mellow. Weird thing to frame it as, but it was the 70s,
It did have...
who knows?
It does have a pretty okay flavor. It's not a good analog to Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew has a little extra like punch. Mellow Yellow is actually appropriately named in that it is a little more mellow than Mountain Dew. Also, one of the best NASCARs, just the one that said Mellow Yellow. I was always really mad that there was never a Mountain Dew NASCAR. And if I'm wrong,
I think there was.
Folks,
there was
please
actually.
let me know.
I went to a NASCAR race in 2011 for a preview event of NASCAR the Game 2012, I think. That's how sports games work.
I remember when it swept all the Game of the Year awards.
Yeah, it went by so fast no one could even see it. But I got a Mountain Dew like NASCAR shirt there, and I really liked it. I wore it a lot. And it had some the Mountain Dew NASCAR. How would they not have a Mountain Dew NASCAR? No one knows. Kyle Petty? He was like Racer X, who wore a mask all the time. He just always showed up to save the day.
Oh, it was Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And you went to the death race, actually.
That's exactly who it was.
That shirt feels like it's either really cheap on eBay or really expensive. Like it's one of those things where there's a million of them and people just can't, they can't get rid of them. Or it's one of those things where it's like there's 100 and it costs $5,000.
It's the streetwear like unicorn.
I'd be willing to bet that you could find that shirt in like a upscale, like on what's that? One of those like reselling fancy clothes websites where it's just like,
I know
this
exactly
is
what you're talking about.
Doing a great job here. There was also Surge in 1997. That was a good one.
Yes, Surge was. They figured out like nobody wants something that's mellow. Let's take Mountain Dew and make it a little more disgusting. And so they threw some like medicine or cough syrup in there to give it just a weird off flavor, just some straight isopropyl alcohol. And I remember that came out, and I was actually in tech school in the United States Air Force, and we very rarely got to sleep because we had to wake up at 3:30 to run. And so we'd get our break, like our breakfast break, and I would go and I would get the Surge and just pound it and eat like a Snickers bar. This is also long before I knew much about like health. And I'd be like, why am I still so tired? I just drank a Surge. It's supposed to set you through, to the moon and back. And there was even a rumor that they discontinued Surge because some kid drank too much and his heart exploded. That's not true. I think Surge didn't have much more caffeine than actually Mountain Dew. They did revive Surge several years ago, and I was so fired up. I grabbed one, went in my car, started drinking it. I was like, now I remember why they got rid of this stuff.
I like that they brought it back, but they brought it back in Tall Boys, which was weird.
Yep, that was the only way you could get it. And the I like that the graphic, the logo was like the same as the Nickelodeon GAC logo.
I think that was a big appeal. I liked it because it was properly green. Like, it was always sort of weird to me that like Mountain Dew looked neon green in the bottle, and then you pour it out and you're like, it looks a little bit like pee-pee now.
They tricked me.
I've been lied to.
It's too bad they couldn't revive that kid that died of Surge and let him grow up to be a tall boy. Sorry, that was so fucking dark.
I don't know how I grew up to be a tall boy drinking all that Surge. God, yeah, I remember my Surge anecdote, and this will do a lot for our age difference. This was right around the time that they introduced like the TV rating system, where it was like, you know, there was like TV 14 or TV Y7 or whatever, and we also had the preview channel, right? And I remember I had a friend over for a sleepover, and we were like trying to watch, you know, cool stuff on TV. And the thing is scrolling along.
Stockings.
Yeah, exactly. They would always show you like, you know, 3 hours ahead or an hour and a half ahead or whatever. And we're trying to find like the most mature things we could watch. And we're looking, and there was on Cartoon Network, there was a show coming on at 4 o'clock in the morning. That was TV 14, and this is like long before Adult Swim. I think we'd stayed up to watch like Cartoon Planet and Space Ghost, which was like, you know, like
proto Adult Swim.
Yeah, it was like TV YT or T or whatever it was. And we're like, oh, whoa, there's something really, really M-rated coming, or something really, it's only for 14-year-olds and up, and we were like 12, so we're like, this is gonna be awesome. And we stayed up to watch this show called Speed Buggy, which was that fucking talking car. It's just Scooby-Doo with a car, but the car talks, and it was just some fuck up at the TV channel or the TV Guide channel or whatever, where they just set it to be like TV 14, and so we stayed up all night to watch this god awful cartoon about a car. We watched it expecting it to be like Space Ghost or Sea Lab, and we're like just hoping it would do something actually funny or lewd or exciting, and it just didn't. And we were like, I think we've been lied to, but luckily we had a lot of Surge, so it was all good.
Man. Also, I want to point out I just accidentally conflated that with Wheelie and the Chopper Gang, which is why I made the Bricka Bricka sound effect. So forgive me, the one person who knew.
As long as you didn't mix up with Turbo Teen, though.
Turbo Teen, man, that show, man.
He just turned into a car, right?
He would turn into a car, and then his face would be like, and he would turn into a Camaro. Or I think it was a Trans Am, and the only way he could turn back was to take a cold shower. So he would get cold. And I remember one episode he like is in the shower as a car to cool himself down to turn back into a teen.
Could people drive him?
Yeah, that's what's weird. To be like, hey, jump inside of me.
Because what if like, I don't know, like two teenagers drove him drunk and they crashed him into a tree, and they're like dumping beer on him to turn him back into a man before the cops get there.
Oh no,
that's a quandary. That's a whole lot of stuff going on there.
I would have thought of that if I was working on that show. That would have been my first question, day one.
And that's Hanna-Barbera would then fire you. Get out of here. So back to the Mountain Dew knockoffs. There was also Vault in 2005.
Whoa, I forgot all about that one.
Yeah, everyone did.
I don't even think I had it.
I don't think so. I don't think I did either. Maybe once. I remember it just being it was not as, I didn't like it as much as Surge. Apparently I didn't like Surge at all. And this is at the time when like Mountain Dew was doing all sorts of crazy shit. Like they were doing, I think in 2005, they had Darth Dew. They had like a limited edition Revenge of the Sith Mountain Dew. And I was like, wahoo, this is great. I don't know.
A lot of millennials will tell you that's the best Dew.
I remember Vault. And it's really funny because the logo now looks like something like a crypto spam.
I think a fun
like
game show is show people logos for old discontinued things and guess what the actual thing is. Mm-hmm. Like, is this medicine? Is it a razor? Is this a soda?
Yeah, no, Vault looks like a car battery company.
Yeah, no, it was a weird thing. But I was working at a bookstore when Vault was a big thing, and there was this old lady who would come in. She was like this just really old woman, and she would come in with a Vault Like she'd come in with like a can of Vault in her hand, and she would buy Star Wars Expanded Universe books.
What?
And then she would go out and I didn't realize this until like I was, I don't know, going to take my break or something. But she like lived in her car, which was just full of Vault, and she had like a hoarder car, and she would just hang out in her car and just drink Vault and read, Star Wars Expanded Universe books. And I was like, if you were like maybe 60 years younger, this could be interesting.
Yeah. I bet you when she died, God was like, get out of the way. Let her in heaven right now. I don't care who you are. She's cutting the line.
Good God. Yeah. Do you remember Amp, Seth? That was a weird.
Yes, I also remember Amp. I never tried Amp.
You never tried Amp?
No. Was that a soda or was that an energy drink?
It was Mountain Dew's. Like they were putting their big
Oh
toe.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And it got putting their big toe.
They were putting their big toe to every can of the soda that
That's
came out.
disgusting.
Yeah, Stephen Mountain Dew would put his big toe, which was extremely long and skinny. He would dip it into the vat in the factory and touch the bottom, and then they would ship it off to the bottling plant. No, it was their answer to, I think Rockstar and Red Bull were a thing at the time. They had like taken off with wings. Rockstar was just driving.
I think
a car.
I had. In fact, I remember. I know I had an Amp, and it left such an impact on me that I don't remember anything about how it tasted.
I just looked it up.
Again.
They made a limited edition of Amp Energy called the Dale Junior Sour.
No freaking way, dude.
Yeah, and it has his car on it.
Number
just
8?
driving nuts.
Hell yeah, that's what he did, man. That's what the Earnhardt family did. They drove nuts.
They drove nuts.
They drove nuts.
So does Mr. Planner in his car.
Also, for the people in the Midwest, we're talking about pop, in case you're like completely confused right now.
Yeah. So if you got anything that we said today, it's just pop. So that's what you guys do. You call it that.
No, they know what Mountain Dew is over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that for like a lot of folks, it has like replaced coffee. Like I know that like a lot of farmers drink it like first thing in the morning, just like pound it, and I don't know. It's a lot of sugar and a lot of caffeine, but it's also like that'll get you going.
Mm-hmm.
Get you a little kick in the jeans, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the Jenkos.
Yeah.
Depending on what era.
The weird thing is like when I was in my peak Mountain Dew consumption phase and I was like pounding double gulps, which honestly you kind of black out a little bit, which is an impressive thing to do without alcohol, just with having a lot of soda and just running around all day. But I lost a lot of weight, probably because I wasn't really eating anything else except for like taquitos and a hot dog or whatever.
And
but
your body's battling itself. So
yeah, that's true. There was a war within. I was a regular Anakin Skywalker in that summer of the Revenge of the Sith. But
one of the I never did a half gallon. Like that's just too much to me. But I do remember very specifically when they introduced like the 1 liter bottles. Like that was the sleepover get.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Dude, we've got to get and just like play Nintendo all night, watch American Gladiator, drink a liter of fucking Mountain Dew, and then just hope you didn't pee the bed at your friend's house.
You know what's great is and this is not great, but I think a lot of younger people might not remember that like in the, I don't know, up until the mid 90s, like soda cans, they had like a little tiny thing for you to drink out of, like a little hole. And then they came out with like the wide mouth soda cans, so you can like really just drink a lot of them. And like the 1 liter bottles used to be just kind of a regular, but I feel like some seltzer still comes in the older type of bottle. And then Mountain Dew was like, get the fuck out of the way. We got a wide, high octane, ultra bandwidth bottle for you to drink.
We got a bucket. You just pour it over your face.
It was like a big, you could like drink out of like a cup almost.
It was them and Coors Light were like battling neck and neck for like who could make the bigger hole on top of a can. So for the big mouth hole, no more of those little urethras. We're gonna get a fucking shotgun hole.
Those big mouth Mountain Dew bottles also were like, oh, now I have an ashtray because I'm the most disgusting person ever.
Seth, this is why we're friends. Yeah, no, I'm glad we got you on here to talk about Mountain Dew. We got a couple of weird, kind of dueling comments here.
No pun.
Matt Vicarious wrote, Diet Mountain Dew is adult stew. My granny introduced it to me as a kid, never went back. If you can get it from a good fountain, Diet Fountain Dew, It's the best. And then George
You can
wrote
find a
in,
local provider.
yeah. I will say that like the whole fountain drink thing, like if you could find like a good, it's all like got the weird ratio in there. If you find like one that makes good soda, yeah, it's a whole thing.
When I was a little, this is like my first Dew memory. I don't know if this was in the show notes to plan, but there was this vending machine in the 80s. Because keep in mind, I'm very, very old. At the dorm of the seminary that my dad went to, that dispensed a paper cup, and then ice would come into the cup, and then soda would come like fountain style into it, and it was like a teeny little cup, and that was. I remember drinking the Mountain Dew out of that, and just being a little kid, like 5, where the sugar was. I would just like be licking the wax of the cup when I was done, like chewing on it a little bit, just to get every little bit of it out. But I remember that distinctly, and I have never had Mountain Dew, and maybe it's just because of childhood innocence, but I've never had Mountain Dew that tasted anywhere near as delicious as it did out of that weird fucking vending machine that probably was filthy and lousy with just germs.
I encountered one of those machines once there was a pharmacy called Long's Drugs when I first moved to California. And
Well, like, are they just like really big pills?
yeah, they're long. They come like fruit by the foot. No,
It's like a tube of Advil.
like pretzel rods of Xanax. Yeah, but they had one of those. They had one of those things at the front, and I was also like, it blew me away because this was like a like a Walgreens or a CVS, like a regular ass pharmacy, but they had an entire aisle of like model kit hobby shit. Like they had hobby supplies, which I was like, what year is it? And then you go to the front, they had one of those soda fountain machines that would like drop the cup down and do that whole thing. But it was all like weird bootleg non-brand. So they had like some cherry drink or like it was like they didn't have Mountain Dew. If they had Mountain Dew there, I would have lost my fucking mind and then gone and bought X-Acto blades or whatever. But yeah, no, I love a good fountain ratio is a whole thing. And I know
A Fountain Dew.
yeah, a Fountain Dew is unless it's bad. Sometimes it's bad. You never know. But as a sort of counterpoint to Matt's thing, George wrote, my aunt drank Diet Dew religiously and then died of early dementia. Likely unrelated, but that's why I stick to the natural full flavor stuff. It was also created in my hometown in East Tennessee, and I enjoyed my first moonshine with a Dew chaser. Cheers, lads. Cheers, lads is not a thing I would expect to hear from a dude from Tennessee, but I'll take it.
No.
I also lost a loved one to dementia, and it wasn't the best, but it was pretty funny.
One of these comments always lies, and one of them always tells the truth. I think you should know that.
My grandfather actually struggles with diabetes.
Seth, what's your stance on the diet Dew or the Dew Zero?
I don't like diet really anything.
Yeah.
I'm just like, don't fool yourself. They say Diet Dr. Pepper tastes just like regular Dr. Pepper. That's a fucking lie. You have to lie to yourself to believe that. No, I don't fuck with diet. Not because I'm like against 0 calories.
It's because you're training to fight Sagat in Muay Thai.
It's because I'm training to fight Sagat. Yeah, I need every calorie I can get, every carbohydrate I can get. But yeah, it never tastes. It just always tastes a little off. There's that artificial sweetener. I just can't get past it. So I go full flavor all day, every day, on everything.
I have these things so infrequently that when I do have anything like it, I want the real thing and not the monk fruit, the aspartame or whatever, all that shit. Yeah. I respect people that drink these all the time and need the cleaner version, but
aspartame was the Hanna-Barbera show about the boy who turned into aspirin. It was a very different one.
that was a weird one. And he had a gang of mystery-solving teens that went everywhere with him. But you did actually, something you said reminded me. I take it back. There is a time and a place for diet soda beverages, and that is for mixing hard alcohols when you're like 20 and you don't like the taste of the shittiest, cheapest alcohol. A diet soda masks the alcohol. I hope nobody listening to this is trying, but it masks the alcohol flavor like flawlessly. So I did partake a lot in diet beverages when I was a degenerate youth. So.
I've never tried that. Huh.
A degenerate youth. No, it really
don't
does.
drink too much because you might become abusive.
Boo. Dude. No. Yeah, I don't. I feel like I have these things so infrequently that I forget what they taste like, and so if I have the diet version, I'm like, it's fine. Like I got a bunch of like Mountain Dew Zeros, and I was like, Oh, okay.
That's a little different though from the diet. I do have a zero sugar upstairs. I haven't tried it yet, but one of our coworkers, he like loves the zero sugar ones, and has kind of put a hit out. Like if I ever come across Code Red zero sugar, like buy it and send it to him immediately, and he'll like just pay me back for it because apparently it's hard to get in California. So.
Yeah, that's what I kind of love about there being so many different weird variations and flavors is that there's a little bit of a thrill if you come across an unusual one. I used to always be just pissed off because so many places would like, they'd only have like Coke products, you know? And I'd be like, there's no Mountain Dew here. I want my Mountain Dew.
The best thing about Applebee's, other than leaving, is the variety of dew that they have there. I don't remember what it's called. It's not as good as the one at Buffalo Wild Wings, though. Buffalo Wild Wings probably the best exclusive dew flavor. Highly recommend. It's like I'm totally blanking on the name right now. It's a
Lemon
purple
pepper.
dark syrup, and it's just Dr. Pepper. It's just Mountain Dew Dr. Pepper.
It is Mountain Dew Legend. It
Legend.
is a
That's right.
Blackberry lime variant exclusive to
it's so
Buffalo
good.
Wild Wings. Also
so
available in the legendary Long Island cocktail combining Mountain Dew with vodka, rum, tequila, triple sec, and lemon sour.
They have that there? I didn't even know they did those things there.
Oh, dude, B-Dubs fucking goes hard, man. They bring the thunder every time. The B-Dubs in Brunswick, Maine, also where on Monday nights, the first Monday of the month, is where the Maine chapter of competitive Super Smash Brothers gets together to play. So yeah, been in there a couple times and being like, what is happening here? As I'm chugging a Legend, pounding wings, and then I just see 300 of my people, not 300, 30 of my people just playing Smash Brothers competitively.
Amazing.
The
Chugging
Applebee's
news.
flavor is Mountain Dew Dark Berry Bash.
It's okay. It's good. But like I said, it's the only thing that's good about Applebee's.
It's a blue raspberry and blackberry variant exclusive to Applebee's and their Cosmic Wings virtual brand. It doesn't say anything about a cocktail that will send you directly to jail, but
No, because it's usually Dew-a-side by cop.
Heavens.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
Not
on that
for you.
note, Seth, before we wrap things up,
What up?
what are your top 3 Mountain Dew flavors? If you had to send somebody out in the world with a time machine
To just get any
to assemble the perfect 3 Mountain Dew flavors.
I'll tell you what. Actually, 2 of them aren't available anymore.
Yeah.
So, like I said, USA, my favorite. That was only a summer. What a summer that was. Could I tell you anything else about that summer? No. It might have been 2018, 2019. I don't know. All I know is that I had a Patrick Swayze shirt that was a picture of him as Bodie from the hit movie Point Break, which is actually one of my favorite movies of all time. And there were fireworks going off, and I was just slamming Dew SAs at a fireworks show, and I've never felt more American in my entire life. And I served in the military.
God damn.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dew SA was a combination of Code Red, Whiteout, and Voltage.
That's it. Yes, and you can't make it on your
To be
own.
clear, Whiteout, not the office supply, and Voltage, not the electricity.
Not the
Mountain Dew
not
flavors.
the electromotive force.
I
of
think
Voltage.
if you mixed Code Red Mountain Dew with a jar of Whiteout correction fluid and electrified yourself, you would become an Image Comics superhero with a full color chromium variant cover.
That's why Mike Nesmith from the Monkees retired, because his mom invented Whiteout. At least that's what everyone always used to say.
I heard he died from drinking Surge.
He died. It's a sad but true fact. What was the other one? The what did they used to call it? The throwback. The throwback Mountain Dew, the one with the real sugar, was the closest I've come to like feeling like a child again. In that one they don't sell anymore. Again, I don't know why. They did that with Pepsi too, and you don't really understand how much better it makes it. However, I do know someone who's significantly younger. He's probably like 15, maybe even like 20 years younger than me. And when that came out, I was singing its praises, and he was like, I actually don't like it, because he had grown up only knowing the flavor of high fructose corn syrup, Mountain Dew, which they made the changeover sort of like sometimes you'd get a can that had high fructose corn syrup. Sometimes you'd get one with the real stuff. And then eventually we've all moved over to the high fructose. But yeah, it's kind of weird. It's a generational thing. He just didn't like it because it wasn't what he was used to. And then for my third all-time favorite, oh man. Oh, you know what's really... yeah. This one I believe you can still get. And is Mountain Dew Spark, which is a pink lemonade flavored.
Ooh.
It was only at like this one convenience store chain in like the South.
Speedway.
But, yeah, but they brought it, they gave it wide release, and it actually, if it's like a very hot day, it actually refreshes you because it's just got that good of a lemonade-y soda flavor. Wonderful. Seek that one out if you can get it. Also, there's a thriving industry on eBay of people selling discontinued Mountain Dew flavors. I have a couple, and I've considered putting them up on there. There was a birthday cake flavored Mountain Dew. I have two cans of that.
That one's interesting. That was Cake Smash.
Yes.
And apparently that was released in 2021.
Yep.
As giving fans the chance to do over their missed parties and celebrations from the pandemic, which is...
Yes. It was, imagine if you took frosting and carbonated it. Yum. Who doesn't want some of that? Party in my mouth.
All right. I like that there was Mountain Dew Baja Point Break Punch, which had no connection to the Patrick Swayze film, but
very good though.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
There was it's as funny, we talked about my favorite. There was a Baja variant a few years ago that was, I think it had like coconut or it was pina colada, and that is the only Mountain Dew that I will never drink again. It was wretched. I've never, I mean, there's flavors that I don't really care for, but I'm never like turned off by them. But there was like a pina colada flavored one a few years ago that was, and I went out of my way. I think I drove like a half an hour to get it and got it home. And I was all excited. Yeah, new Mountain Dew. And it was just god awful. It was like drinking suntan lotion. Again, carbonated.
I feel like I might have had that. I don't know.
It was bad.
No, I feel like this honestly feels like talking to somebody who's kept up with an ongoing comic series or like it feels like talking to somebody about X-Men and be like, no man, they took over Krakoa and they're all friends now and Apocalypse wears a suit to the United Nations, and I'm like, what the fuck, I gotta catch up on this. Like there's all these crazy new flavors I gotta get on that backlog. Great thing to do when you're approaching 40. Just drink a bunch of Mountain Dew. What could go wrong? Seth, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on the internet. I'm there most of the time. In fact, I work there. But you can actually find me on Instagram at Seth G. Macy and TikTok at Major_Beeflord. And those are the only two that I really keep up now.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Oh my God.
Business
I'm so
in the front,
excited.
mullet in the back.
I wish, man. I wanted to grow a mullet, but unfortunately the party up or the business up front is starting to thin a little too much. And
I think you look good with a shaved head.
Well, thank you. I think you do too. So,
I think it's missing a flaming hot Mountain Dew sweatband, though. I think you should get on that.
I should have worn it, man. It's like it's upstairs. It's in my sweatband rotation.
That's really weird. I think we're going to stop there. But thanks for hanging out, man. This was a Baja blast.
It was.
Before we go, just a reminder, This Thing Rules is made possible thanks to the support of our Patreon backers. If you'd like to help us keep the lights on and get some extra bonus stuff for yourself, you can go kick us $1 or $2 at patreon.com/thisthingrules. But really, every little comment, like, subscribe, share, or other form of engagement goes a long way. So if you've got a minute, give us a plug on social media, or go give us a nice review on iTunes, or just write something weird. I don't care. It's nice that you made the effort. And finally, a big, huge, extra special thank you to Patreon executive producers for this month: Ben Burkhalter, Anthony DePiro, Nick Vaughn, Paul Atienza, Kevin Lemasurier, Steve Cam, Caleb Hilliard, Billy McKendry, and Chip Chunkling. Thank you so much for your continued support. You rule.
Now, what do you have to wash that awful taste out of my mouth?
Mountain Dew or crab juice?
Ugh! Oh, jeez. I'll take a crab juice.